Hey, how's it going everybody? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to some more Total War Pharaohs gameplay. Today we are diving back in and taking a look at one of the siege battles I was lucky enough to go ahead and play, as I guess got hands on with an early access build of the game. In the build, we only actually got access to 3 battles. There was 2 land battles and this siege battle, but I really wanted to show this one off because I actually really enjoyed this. This was by far the most enjoyable battle for the most part for me. The land battles kind of felt a bit blur, but yeah, the siege maps actually were really fun. And actually makes me kind of excited to have some large-scale 4v4 gameplay and just kind of other engagements on the battle. This was also as well the largest battle of the event, which was obviously really good because we got to command the most units. Granted, you know, we only got to command roughly 20-30 units in this battle, so not as many as you could have. Obviously with 4v4 you could have 80 either side, and I think that would really be fun to do. And also, as you guys can see, like the map is, you know, pretty large scale, so you can quite easily have a full-on 80v80 battle and actually fill out the castle from every single side, which I think is perfect. I definitely am not a big fan of these smaller maps. And also in Total War Troy as well, there was quite a few actually really good landed siege battles as well. You can see though, the pathfinding is still a bit iffy. The chariots did finally figure their way out and manage to make their way out, but it did take them a second or two. And I did notice that I think the gates in specifically were a bit of an issue for some units coming in and out, but I think that's been the case in Total War for a long time now, and seemingly they're not doing anything to fix this, so it just is what it is. Siege equipment across the siege maps were pretty basic. We got obviously new ladders that you have to build now, rather than just invisible ladders, which is obviously a much better return in my opinion. And the siege equipment looks okay, but yeah, it's nothing special. I think there's siege towers, ladders, and battering rams. They haven't really gone through any effort to create any unique siege equipment or anything else kind of remotely interesting with that regard whatsoever. We also get a nice little glimpse of like the sheer scale of the settlement. It is very big. And you can see the archers and the towers shooting in. We don't have anything with regards to building towers mid-battle, so there's no Warhammer siege mechanics in the game whatsoever. And there you go, the siege towers are moving up. If you haven't checked out my previous videos, I talk a lot more in detail. I've done 2 videos, I think, by the time this is being uploaded, showing you my overall thoughts and opinions on Total War Pharaohs and kind of, you know, where it stands in the Total War historical genre, I guess tier list and stuff. And I also showed a battle where I went a bit more in detail in that, which again, hopefully you guys will go check out if you haven't already and kind of figure out more. But again, for the most part, I'll reiterate a few of my thoughts in that. I think the gameplay itself does feel very Troy-esque. I think I'm pretty confident in saying that it's more so a middle ground between like older historical games and Total War Troy. I don't think the game itself is like particularly like back in the days of Total War Attila, but it's definitely not as floaty and as like kind of I guess is like Warhammer-esque as say something like Total War Troy is. We no longer have heroes and stuff, so it's kind of like a step in the right direction, but not as much of a direction as I would have liked to have seen, if I'm being completely honest. In this battle as well, we are fighting the Mycenaeans, I believe, so this is a completely different culture that we are engaging. Now I've got my soldiers moving up to defend the gatehouse, and the new formation mechanic as well is actually really good with that as well. So that's kind of a nice little addition. So if you haven't seen my previous videos, they've added in completely, I guess, battle changing and unique mechanics with formations now. They'll now actively either push forward or hold the line or fall backwards whilst they're fighting, and that's really effective when defending a gate, because you can obviously set your unit to hold the line so they'll be as stationary as possible, and you can also tell them to do a fighting retreat and kind of draw the enemy line in deeper and then surround it to kind of get the flanking damage and other bonuses, which I think is good. The chariots were a really effective force as well on this battlefield. I was able to really harass a few of the AI units there and put some pressure on them as the enemy missile fire comes in, and just basically trying to hold the gatehouse as much as possible. The battle length overall, I think battles could be slowing down a bit more. It's not like a Warhammer battle I found where the battle is much quicker, because you don't have all these crazy effects and stuff which do kind of shorten the life. You know, when I cast a Winds of Death or something, it's gonna quite dramatically, you know, reduce the enemy HP and stuff and wipe them out. Whereas, you know, this being more set in historical, there's only so many things that can do as much damage, which is good. You know, the battles do last longer, but still I would like to see them last that little bit longer in the actual battlefield itself, and have, yeah, more kind of push and pull, which you can now have. You know, if you have a unit on retreating and they have a unit on advancing, it creates some really interesting and dynamic features. The archers also felt pretty good. You can set them to fire arrows, and that can actually set a blaze to the settlement as well, so your archers can harass. I believe there's also, I'm not sure, I think they had it in Thrones of Britannia as well, but you can start, as you're moving through the settlement, actually start setting a blaze to the cities and stuff, and that will hamper the enemy line. Also, our hero has an archer bodyguard as well, so that's another interesting thing. I was actually talking about that in one of my other videos. I was like, yeah, it'd be interesting to see if they do give us more dynamic bodyguards, because in Total War 3 Kingdoms, if you played the records mode, you would just be given heavy cavalry for all your heroes, and it's good to see that that isn't the case. We've got heavy infantry on the previous battles. I think there's a chariot in the second battle, and then this one does show that your general is an archer. I'm not sure if there's going to be any way to like choose that or dictate that, or maybe it's just kind of what the main character is kind of, you know, born to do, I guess. But still, is cool nonetheless to see more unique heroes and bodyguards, because that's not something we've had in previous Total Wars. So yeah, as I said, I'd love to see more customization with that. Would be very, very fun. Right now, though, we are just clearing out the right wall. Pretty easy to defeat. This wall is actually a bit of a problem, and I realized that in a second, and I actually start marching some soldiers over. But because you can see the scale of the settlement, it's going to take a while to go over there. But, you know, I've got some spare soldiers, so I'm going to be sending them over. I'm going to be throwing some more men up onto the wall as well, as best as I can. And I'm going to stick these guys into a spear wall as well. Unfortunately, there's no like animation by the looks of it of them actually getting into like a type of formation, which I think is a bit of a missed opportunity. Also, I'm really not a big fan as well of like the above head icons. I think that looks really bad. You can also see some of the more locked animations as well, which is good. You know, it's great to see them starting to make a return. More of them, the better. But yeah, I don't see what was the issue with like the flags. I think the flags were awesome. It gave loads of like cinematic feeling, seeing all these banners moving around the battle map, and they could display information perfectly fine. Yeah, I really am not a fan of the unit icons that we've been getting in more recent. I think in Warhammer Total War as well, right? You can like actually adjust between the two. You have the option to go with these icons and actually the other icons as well, which is always nice. And right here you can see the sheer scale of the settlement. As I mentioned, you're a pretty large scale one. Oh, this was something I've mentioned this in all of my videos because it absolutely annoys me to no end. But as you can see right now, I'm holding the line across the board. I'm not letting any enemies through. I'm defeating them. I'm engaging them wherever I can. They're not breaking through my battle lines, right? We can all agree that. We can all agree that, you know, I'm an absolute beast. However, look in the middle of your screen, top middle. They are capturing one of my points. How the hell did they? I mean, again, I am losing that left flank, but slowly. It's a slow loss. How the hell are they capturing this point on the right-hand side? They're only just breaking through here now. This unit that I just kind of went past, I'm like, what? What's going on? Why am I losing? That unit routed from the walls. It ran down here whilst routing, came back from routing, and then was like, oh, yo, that unit's doing it too in the bottom right. And it's just like, yeah, yo, I'm just going to go, you know, win the battle by capturing the capture points. I hope you don't mind. Because that's what I'm going to do. Even though I'm routing, I'm broken, I have no will left to fight. There's another one doing it. It's like, how is this still okay? I think they kind of did it in Warhammer as well, from what I remember. But it wasn't really an issue in Warhammer because, one, the battles were shorter, and two, the siege maps were tiny, so you could quite easily deal with that. This is not acceptable on a map of this large scale. The units can just route towards my city center and capture it. It's the same with Troy as well. A lot of the Troy battle maps were quite small, or siege maps were actually quite small, so it wasn't really that big of an issue. But this is just like unacceptable. That I could literally lose the game because I'm defending I'm defending too well and I'm defeating the enemy. Like, that unit's doing it as well. Look at it route. Look at it route. They know. They're like, yeah, I'm going to the city center. Look at it. Oh, like, you can see, I'm like, oh my God. Yeah, I don't know how that's acceptable. They need to sort that out before the next big historical total war, because yeah, it's gonna be, I don't know. I could cry about that all day. But yeah, I mean, I think the scale of the settlements, which is awesome, means that this is just so punishing. You can see as well, I'm checking out some of the damage icons as well. So you can start to see as well that then routing units who come back and then immediately go to my city center are also burning down my settlement as well. You can see my settlement's on fire because they come back from routing and then they start burning as they head back. It's just such a stupid mechanic. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it's just not acceptable. It's not acceptable when I'm paying £50. Besides that, though, the siege maps have been really fun aesthetically as well. They look great. You would also have noticed as well, we've got a return to actual like commander abilities. They were removed in Three Kingdoms, and I think they were brought back in Troy, but they were very much more hero buffs as well. Like, I don't think a lot of the heroes, they just like pump themselves up rather than their surrounding units. But, full-on historical rallies and, stat boosts and stuff are all back from them. So, again, makes the hero that a little bit stronger, that a little bit more important, which is, yeah, again, a nice little return. So, yeah, for the most part, I think, and look at the map as well. The map looks great with the pyramids in the background. But, yeah, I think they're, like, so close to returning a lot of the amazing... And it's so stupid as well. I'm like, they're so close to returning to the game, the good things that they removed from the game in the first place. It sounds so dumb saying that, but they are. They're, like, edging towards it bit by bit. And as I said, it's like they're taking steps towards it, but it's just not there. And I'm not sure if that's because obviously this is like so far looking like a just an improvement on Total War Troy, basically a saga, but not really a saga. Yeah, I don't know. They're like close. They're almost there, and I don't know if they just they don't have enough resources. I'm for the most part really looking forward to the next proper historical Total War, which is going to be next year. Hopefully they take a lot of the things, because again, a lot of these games are just like stepping stones for that. Hopefully we see the I don't know if the resource system is going to be in this game, but it was in Troy, and hopefully we see stuff that these games do produce really big improvements to the overall game. Hopefully though, we'll just see more of it in the future. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this. If you did, drop a like and a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one.